Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to another brand new episode of the ITU Forex Class. In this week's edition, we're actually going to be talking about forward testing. So, in quite a number of the lessons that we've done in the past, we've talked about back testing extensively. And back testing is just one form of one part, I would say, of testing your trading methodology or your trading edge or your trading strategy or whatever you might call it. Okay, now the type of methodology that we use for testing our trading edges to prove and to further confirm that they actually do give us an unfair advantage in the market is threefold. It's made up of three parts. Okay, the first is back testing. The second, which is what we're going to be talking about today, is forward testing. And then right after that, we've got the third, which is live testing. Okay, so first things first, what exactly is forward testing? Now, to explain that to you, we'll need to go to the whiteboard. Okay, so let me quickly do this and let me pick my pen. Okay, so forward testing. Okay, sorry, I need to fix this up a little bit. Excuse. So, forward testing, like we said, forward testing. So, what exactly is forward testing? Okay, now, forward testing is testing your trading edge or trading strategy to prove that it has an edge over the markets using historical price data. Now, you might say, well, backtesting is also the same thing. We're using historical price data to confirm whether our trading edge has got an edge in the market. But the thing is, when we're forward testing, we're actually using a period of the price data, the historical price data, which was not used during backtesting. So, to give you an example, let's say you've got a trading strategy, a simple trend trading strategy or breakout trading strategy. It doesn't really matter what type of trading strategy it is. But let's say when you were testing that particular trading strategy, you tested it, and just to make things simple, let's say it's a swing trading strategy, okay? And so you tested it from 2018, for example, all the way to 2022. Now, within this time period, because it's a swing trading strategy, you only manage to take something like, let's say, 200 trades, okay? 200 trades, because it's a swing trading strategy, okay? Now, the thing is, ideally, when you're trading with a swing trading strategy, for example, you want to make it so that whatever period of time you're testing it with is extensive enough to cover moments for that particular instrument that you're trading when the pair was ranging, when it was consolidating, when it was trending, and all of those. Because the thing is, if you were to just test your trading strategy, regardless of what type of test you're doing, whether it's back test, forward test, or live testing, if you were to test that trading strategy and all you did was to test it during a time period when that trading strategy tends to perform at its best, when you will definitely get very good results from your test. But the problem with that is that it's almost as if you're competing, which is you're kind of trying to or let me give you an analogy that will make it easy for you to understand. Let's say you're an instructor or a teacher in school, okay? And so you've got a student that you absolutely love, okay? And you don't want that student to fail his exams and all of that. And so instead of you doing the proper thing, or instead of the teacher here, let's not use you for this example. Let's say instead of the teacher doing the proper thing, which is to encourage the student to study and, practice and all of those things, he hands them the slip to the questions of the exam ahead of time. And so because of that, that student of his goes on to practice memorize basically the answers to the questions and all of that. And he comes to the exams and aces everything. But is that preparing him for the life outside the school when you're no longer going to be helping him? Of course it doesn't, because in that world where the reality is going to definitely be harsh, he's likely not going to meet a teacher like that person who is going to be giving him the exams questions ahead of time. And so because of that, he might fail woefully in his exams or his educational endeavors. Okay, so moving on. And so this analogy actually kind of explains what it is we're trying to achieve with testing. And that's why we don't just settle for back testing alone. And then, when we see that the trading strategy is profitable, we just deploy it into the markets, straight ahead. The reason is because we want to test it extensively, the trading methodology. We want to test it extensively so that it faces, rigorous market conditions that are completely outside the realm of when the trading strategy tends to perform at its best. Okay? And so back testing, for example, let's say you back tested your trading strategy from 2018, like I gave you in the example here, to 2022. With forward testing, what you're basically doing is you're going to be testing the trading strategy with a time period that was not used during this back testing phase. So if your back test was from 2018 to 2022, then your forward test is going to be something like from 2023 to something like 2026. The reason behind this is because when you were backtesting, let's say you backtested from 2018 to 2022 and you found out that the trading strategy is profitable. Okay, so you had your win rate was average, let's say maybe 40 something or 50%, which doesn't really matter because it all boils down to your expectancy and how much the size of your average win is compared to the size of your average loss. So if your average win is like twice the size of your average loss, even with a win rate that is like 40 or 50%, you'd still end up being profitable. So win rate doesn't really matter all that much. Okay, now let's say within this time period that you tested this trading strategy for your back test, it was profitable. Now, if we were to just take this trading strategy and deploy it to the live market, it's possible that the time period that you tested this trading strategy during your back test was a time period when that particular currency pair or trading instrument that you tested was in a condition that was favorable to that trading strategy. So if your trading strategy was a trend trading strategy, for example, and when you tested it from 2018 to 2022, the market for those 4 years happened to be trending, then of course your trading strategy is going to make a ton of profits. Okay, and so the results from that back test is going to be it's going to be very good on paper. Okay, but the thing is, if you were to just take that strategy and then deploy it to the live market, and it so happens that the moment you began deploying that trading strategy in the live market, the market entered into a consolidation or it started ranging, obviously because you're trading with a trend trading strategy, then that trading strategy is going to find it difficult to give you good results, just like you saw in the back test. And that's why we want to do our testing in 3 parts. The reason being, if our back test, it so happened that our back test was conducted when the market conditions were favorable for that trading strategy that we're using, hopefully when we come to forward test our trading strategy, hopefully the time period that we're going to be using to forward test that trading strategy will likely be a time period which is not favorable to the trading strategy's ideal optimal conditions. So for example, since we're using the trend trading strategy in this example, and let's say you backtested it from 2018 to 2022 when the market was trending for that particular instrument that you're trading with, but then when you tested it from 2023 to 2026, it so happened that the market was ranging or it was consolidating, and you still managed to somehow not lose a ton of money with it, or you managed to break even, or you managed to make a little bit of profit, then this will give us a full picture of the trading strategy's performance. The reason being, we have the data backing how the trading strategy performs when the ideal market conditions it was designed for, which is trending markets, was actually in session. Then it performed very well. But then we tested it using forward testing in a time period when the ideal market conditions was not favoring it, but it still managed to make a little bit of profit, or it still managed to lose just a little bit of money, okay, and still it gave good results during that time period. then obviously we've got a very good edge on our hands. And I know today's class is all about forward testing, but just to give you a glimpse of actually what the three-phase process is all about, right after forward testing, like I told you, let me just write it up here so that everything is going to be clear. We've got back testing, okay, which is the first. Back testing is number 1. Then forward testing is number 2. And then number 3 is live testing. As the name implies, when we are live testing a trading strategy, basically what we're doing is we have tested the trading strategy's performance when we were back testing using historical data. Then we forward tested it again using historical data. There are some traders out there who prefer to forward test their trading strategies using a demo account. But part of the reasons why I don't recommend this is because when you're forward testing your trading strategy using a demo account, for example, for you to be able to take a statistically significant number of trades, okay, which is going to give you something to work with your data, then it's going to take a very long period of time. So for example, I told you that for the trading, and this starts, I'm using the trading strategy that we talked about in the couple of classes back, okay? So for the back test from 2018 to 2022, I think roughly I took around 200 trades, give or take, okay? And then the thing is, look at what we have here. From 2018 to 2022, this is like 4 years. So it's almost as if we're taking 50 trades per year. Now, if you want to forward test this trading strategy, and you don't want to use historical price data because you want to try it out on a demo account, for example, the problem is for you to take a statistically significant number of trades with that particular strategy, maybe like 100 trades or 200 trades, then you're going to have to wait maybe a couple of years, which within those time periods, you're obviously not going to be making any money because you're just testing that trading strategy to find out if it's even profitable to begin with. And that's why I advise most of my students to not forward test using a demo account, but rather they should back test their trading strategy using historical price data, forward test it with out of sample data. That's if you're using one period for back testing, use a completely different time period for forward testing, and then once you've been able to gather enough data from your back test and forward testing, then you will move to trading the live markets, but with a very small amount of money. Okay, because at that moment our concern is not about making money. Our concern mostly when we are live testing is for you to build the habits of consistently profitable traders, which is for you to flawlessly execute that trading strategy that you've proven to yourself through back testing and forward testing that it's actually profitable. And so you would be trading on a small live account. If in reality you want to be trading something like, a $100,000 prop firm account, for example, then on that live account that you'll be trading, it will be advisable for you to fund a cent account, which will show your balance kind of like the $100,000 which you're aiming for, but it's not $100,000, it's going to be 100,000 cents, which is like with $1,000 you should be able to achieve that. In fact, some traders don't need to go all that way up. You could do the same thing with like $500. Do it with much smaller accounts, okay? Now, when you do this, not only will you be building the habits of consistently profitable traders, like flawless trade execution, okay? Let's say number 1, flawless trade execution, okay? Number 2, then is you'd be journaling your trades, reviewing your performance and all of that. And number 3, okay, number 1, flawless execution. Number 2, you'll be journaling your trades. And then number 3, you'd also learn to review your trading performance, which is all something you'd need to do live in the moment to actually have a glimpse of what that trading strategy really, what trading with it in real life is. Because one thing I want you to pay attention to is the fact that when you're backtesting, for example, you're usually, most of the times, you're not going to be missing trades. Okay, because it's historical price data that you're trading with, and so you're not going to be missing trades in the sense that you will be in front of your chart and just one click of a candle or one click of the next button is going to give you a whole day's candle or a week's candle or whatever the case might be. So you're likely not going to be missing trades. But when you're live testing that trading strategy, then you might, especially when you're using mechanical trading strategies, there might be times when your trading setup is going to appear in the middle of the night, and maybe you might be fast asleep, and so you might miss those type of setups. But if you don't experience it in the live markets, then you wouldn't even know that this could be a problem. And so these and all of those other problems are are things that's going to pop up for you in live testing, so that you actually know the strategy that you've tested that has proven to be profitable. If you were to trade it in the live markets, how can you expect to fit it around your lifestyle? And the fourth thing is, most of the times these trading strategies, they have the way you execute them, okay, and the way the market conditions react is likely going to have an impact on their results. So what I mean is, when the fourth condition is market conditions, okay, the prevailing market conditions. So what I mean is, in the live markets, okay, we've got things like your commissions, okay, that's the cost of the trades you open depending on the broker you're trading with. We've got commissions, we've got spreads, okay, the wideness of your spreads, all of those things. We've got slippage, okay, we've got slippage, we've got all of these market conditions, which when you're testing in a historical environment, historical price data environment, most of these things are not going to have an adverse effect on your trading performance in that particular environment. But when you're live testing, you're going to feel the impact of all of these things live, because when you place a trade, the broker is obviously going to want to make their money, and so they're going to charge you commissions. They're also going to, most of the brokers, if they're charging you commissions, some of them will not charge you spreads, but some charge you both. They will charge you spreads and they will charge you commissions. It all depends on the broker you're working with. But let's say they even charge you spreads, or they don't, it doesn't really matter. But the effects of spreads could also change the results of your trading strategy's performance. And then the third thing is slippage. Slippage is when, let's say, you want to open a trading position, and let's say the price of the USD JPY currency pair is around 180.50, for example. And so you want to enter into this market with a long trading position at 180.70. So you place a buy stop pending order. But then when you place that buy stop pending order, the CPI news got released, and it was positive for the United States dollar. And so all of a sudden, we had this huge spike in the market. Now with this spike, usually there's going to be slippage. There's going to be slippage in the market, okay? Depending on the broker you're using, there's usually, most of the times, there's going to be slippage in the market. So let's say you placed a buy stop pending order to get into the market with a long trading position at 180.70, okay? But it so happens that the news release that we had caused the market to have this sudden surge in volatility, and so your order got filled at 180.90. You see, this is like giving you a very bad feel, which is 20 pips worse than the price you wanted to enter into the market with. Now, when you're forward testing or back testing with historical data, most of the times these type of things will likely not affect you. And that's why it's important for you to test that trading strategy live, so that you'd see how the impact of all of these type of things influence the bottom line performance of that trading strategy you're using. Okay, so basically, forward testing, which is the main crux of the topic we're talking about today, has to do with you testing your trading strategy to prove that it actually has an unfair advantage over the market. But when you're testing it, you're not using the same time period that was used to test that particular trading strategy during back testing, because you don't want it to be as if you are trying to force that particular time period to conform to whatever results you wanted that trading strategy to have. And that's why you're using a completely different time period and testing with historical data. And like I told you, some traders prefer to do forward testing with a demo account. But being a swing trader, the reason why I advise my students against doing that is because if you say you're going to forward test using a demo account, then it's going to take you a very, very long time before you take a number of trades, the number of trades that would be statistically significant, so that you can even make an informed decision from the results of the forward testing that you are conducting. And this scenario, also think about it like this: you could backtest a trading strategy that appears to be profitable, because the time period with which you backtested it was a time period that was favoring that particular trading strategy. So let's say you're trading with a trend trading strategy, and then the time period that you tested that trading strategy for backtesting was a trending market environment. And so that trading strategy gave you good profits, little drawdown, and all of the works, you know. But then the time period that you use to forward test it, in this case, let's assume you're doing your forward testing on the demo account and you set a goal to take 100 trades with that trading strategy to prove that it actually works. In this case, let's say on average you take like 50 trades with that trading strategy per year. So you might end up taking that 100 trades in 2 years, only to find out that the time period that you forward tested that trading strategy with was when the market was consolidating or ranging, and so it wasn't favoring that trading strategy, and then you ended up losing money with it. And so you, within that time, you would have wasted all of these 2 years just testing this trading strategy to now find out that it doesn't work that well when the market is not favoring it. Okay? And so instead of wasting that 2 years, if you were to do the same thing with a trading simulator with historical data, you would have achieved this within a couple of days or a couple of, you know, if you're lazy, that you don't even backtest all that much, then it might just take you maybe a couple of weeks at most. So you see, the power of using historical data to actually forward test is immense. Okay, and so this pretty much brings us to the end of this week's edition of the class. And to do a quick recap, we use 3 steps to validate our trading strategy's performance, its profitability. We've got the first one, like I told you, is backtesting. The second is forward testing, and the third is live testing. Backtesting is when you test that trading strategy using historical data with a given time period. Then forward testing is when you do the same thing. You test the strategy with historical price data, but using a completely different period, so that you confirm that, okay, if this trading strategy was profitable for me during this time period, during backtesting, and I tested it with a completely different time period in forward testing, and it still proved to be profitable, then we might have something on our hands. And so you want to test that same trading strategy in the live market. The reason being, you want to build the habit of flawless trade execution, journaling your trades, reviewing your performance, and then seeing the impact of things like commission, spreads, and slippage on the performance of your trading strategy before you now scale and deploy it to the live market and trade it on a larger account, so that you can actually be able to trade and make meaningful profits from trading. Okay, so again, this brings us to the end of this week's edition of the class. But before we round up, I'd like to, again, as usual, use this opportunity to invite you guys to test out our suite of bots from the ITU suite of trading robots, as they are called, or expert advisors, which are designed to look for low risk, high probability trading opportunities on your behalf, and then place those trades for you while you're out and about doing whatever it is you want to do with your time. And then they are placing those trades, managing the trades, and getting you to earn while you're learning how to trade. So if you're interested, please reach out to us on any one of our social handles, and we'll be more than happy to assist you set everything up step by step, following our instructions. Once again, thank you for your time, and have a wonderful rest of your week. God bless you all. Cheers.